Hello and welcome to the Spooky Chris podcast. I am the aforementioned Spooky Chris Ringler, author, filmmaker, artist, and all-around ne'er-do-well. And this is my podcast. Hopefully you found me via my website, spookychris.com, where you can find all my podcasts, all of my blogs, some short stories, and links to all of my books. If you found me another way, well then welcome and thanks. And feel free to check out my website for all the weirdness that I put out there into the world. This go-round, I thought I would talk about the idea of fundraising that has become kind of part and parcel with our modern culture. Now, when I was a kid, everyone would fundraise for trips and for special things for their, whatever club or group they were in. It was just kind of, it was a general kind of a thing. It was a way to kind of invest in a thing but get something back. The whole notion of fundraising. I remember, readathons were kind of a fundraiser of sorts. People sponsored your reading. And so I grew up with fundraisers of a different kind. When I was in the Cub Scouts, we did the popcorn sales and all of that. The modern world's become weird because the sad part of it is because of a fractured healthcare system, more and more people are forced to turn to fundraising, to bury their dead, to try to save their own lives, to get medicine that they need, because we are all living in so much debt, and we have such poor health care, where you pay out the nose for this stuff, and then they're like, oh, cool, oh, we don't cover that, sorry, bye. Or, gosh, yeah, we'd love to help you, but that medication you need is, $500 a pill. And it's, that kind of thing is so awful and insidious, and it's something that needs to be dealt with at the governmental level. But I don't have my hopes up that it ever will be. Much like the cost of college books. It's one of those things where it's just, it is what it is, and too many people make money off that grift. And that trough is too long and too wide, and I just don't know that people want to step away from it. I'll always hope that there is medical reform, insurance reform, but I think it's a long shot. So we see that. We see it all the time, and it's sad. And you'll see when someone is, usually when it's a sudden death, a young death, some kind of tragedy, you'll see people fundraise for the expenses of the funeral and everything, or to lay their loved one to rest. And again, it's also insidious in its way that we have made dying so expensive. And these are kind of things, you hate to see them, but you can't really, I'm not going to be the one to throw shade on it, because having gone through grief and dealt with people I love dying, and let's face it, most death is unexpected, unless you are someone it's a long-term thing, and they're like, well, no, there just isn't any hope, they're going to die. It's usually, to some degree, sudden. But, so I'm never going to throw shade on any of that, because, in terms of the medical, because we're all going through what we're going through, and it'd be great and easy to lecture everyone around, well, you need to better, save money, and you need to have better investments, and you need a better job. It's great. It's the go-to for people these days, is to lecture others on how they should handle their finances and their lives, without seeing the full picture. And heaven knows we all blow money on stupid stuff, but it's an oversimplification. It's just like when people will look at the city I live in, Flint, I'm like, oh, well, there's XYZ there, so it's going to be lots of crime. You know that because, XYZ, oh, gosh. It's an oversimplification. It looks past the decades-long poverty and generational poverty and all these reasons why people become what they become, with this idea of bootstrapping it to make something of yourself, when this whole world has always been about who you know, reasonably and unreasonably. But what I really wanted to talk about more than anything is the weird fundraising that has popped up for kind of hobby fundraising, almost, I want to say. Passion fundraising. And then worse than that is the kind of institutional fundraising for larger entities. So, as an author, as a filmmaker, as someone who's put on events for a while, like for many, for every year we would do the horror convention when we were doing them. Someone would say from the outsider in, we should do a GoFundMe, a Kickstarter, or a fundraiser to get money to do these things. And I refuse at every mention of that, because I just don't. We're a for-profit, and as a for-profit, we shouldn't be asking people for money to do this. And I get it that that money could go towards getting guest XYZ. Or a certain thing, or a certain venue, or a certain to grow the event, and people that are into that, they benefit. They could put in X amount of money, and they could get a free ticket or whatever, what have you. There's a whole bunch of stuff. There's benefits to be had, but I just don't like the idea of it, because to me, if we can't afford what we do, we don't need to exist. That's why you go and you find sponsors. That's why, for us, if we didn't have a sponsor for it, I funded it, or, some of our members would pitch in, or, most of the time we made money. We made, the money we used, we got from sales of tickets or space for vendors, that kind of a thing. I just don't like the idea of kickstarting, whatever, fundraising for something that it inherently doesn't need to exist. Something like that. Again, it's a for-profit. If we can't figure out how to fund it, considering we're pocketing all that money, not personally per se, for us, and I'm not going to say we're out like everybody, but for us, whatever we made went back into the event. But for many, that kind of a thing, it's a for-profit. Like I say, it's for-profit. So I don't think we should be raising money for for-profit like that. I think it's gross, and I don't think it is appropriate, because again, we don't need to exist. It's great that we do. That's why I've always preferred to be self-funded than to keep kind of kicking that can down the road, hoping we'll get funding from someone. As someone who has a day job where I see grants and hear about them, there are so many people that are, everything about their business is grant funded. And I get it to a degree, because especially right now, because we're in a situation where it is bad news bears for everybody, and we don't want to lose these small businesses, these minority-owned businesses, these kind of businesses that have existed for forever. We don't want to lose them, and right now is the kind of time we will lose them, especially people like me who just go to Amazon because it's easier, and I hate people, so I don't want to go to stores. But just going down to the store, going to anywhere, it's a pandemic. We haven't been able to do it. So there's a lot of folks that are losing their shirts and their businesses because of the nature of what this is. It's something where you can't really go and be around everybody, so you can't really go shopping. So people are losing their businesses, and I mean, absolutely, I stand behind the idea of getting those people help and funding so they don't lose their businesses, because this isn't their fault. But there are a lot of people who they just don't make money, and they keep getting kind of bailed out. And again, I'm not going to be someone who's going to say like, oh well, Mr. Bootstrapper, they should get your own money and go out of business. I'm not going to say that, but I will say that, I mean, sometimes it just ain't going to work. And it's your business, so why should I, as Rando Joe, fund your hobby or business? Worse than that is weirds me out is I'll see people fundraising and kickstarting for books and art and movies they want to make and all these things. And again, it's like the world doesn't need that. This isn't my friend died, I have to bury him. This isn't I'm going to die if I don't have this. This is I want to do this. Awesome. Do it. You should effing do it. Like, for real. Do it. The world needs more creativity. It needs more passion. It needs more art. But, I mean, some of that stuff, and I guess I might sound like an old man on this, because I've been doing this stuff for a while. Some of this you just got to figure out yourself. It is what it is. Now, some projects I get are so big, it's going to need a bunch of funding. But you get investors, or you save money, or you dial back what you're going to do, or you wait, or you don't do it. This is our 10-year anniversary for the convention. Obviously can't do anything because of the pandemic, but I would have loved to have done a convention, a horror convention, because we haven't done one in years. I'd love to have done one. Had we been able to, I would have funded it. What we couldn't afford otherwise, because I'm not going to ask people to fund my passion. And that doesn't make me better than anyone. It just means that I think we have our priorities kind of kooky. And again, like some of this stuff, video games and everything, it is I want this. Oh my God, I want this. I will pay money now. And I get it. It's kind of how comic books and a lot of that stuff got going in that kind of art, is that you get the money ahead of time, and it's we are the investors instead of someone coming in. We are the investor. So we put the money up to fund this project that to us sounds amazing, and we want to be in on it. And cool, great, because a lot of these things obviously get kickstarted, and that is fantastic. If people want it, like you do you. If that's what you want to put your money into, absolutely awesome. I can't say I have never thought like, why does someone rich not just give? And this is years ago. Someone like John Carpenter say, hey, here's $1 million. Make whatever movie you want to make. Just do you. Here's the money to make this movie. Make it. And again, it's $1 million is not. You can't make anything anymore, really. Like, not at that level. But that was like, I've had that idea for years. It's like I never understood why nobody did that. People just kind of hold on to their money. But I don't know. I find it weirds me out how many people I'll see that are like, hey, I think I'm going to do this. I want to do creative project XYZ. Come fund me. And then they get upset and bent out of shape if people don't want to fund it. And it's weird just because it's like, well, that's the risk. That is the risk. And I mean, I guess in a weird sense, you saved yourself some money because you didn't go to concept, you didn't go from concept to reality thinking people were going to buy it. So it's one of those, it's that can be a lesson in and of itself, but it's definitely a bummer when you see like, only X amount of days left for my fundraiser. You guys really need to get on this because it's going to be cool, and I need all that money. I was talking to a friend yesterday about how funny it was when I was serving on the board for a local arts organization. And they did grants, these kind of mini grants for people. And I remember seeing someone I knew who was an author, and they wanted $5,000 to publish people. And I was like, excuse me? And this is years ago. And I was just kind of like, I self-publish. I know you self-publish. You can do this like for much less than $5,000. And why are you the person that should be doing this? It bothered me deeply. Like, everything costs money, absolutely, but not everything has to cost money either. It's weird that people look for reasons to job the system almost. They're like, well, but I really want to have blah blah blah. Awesome, figure it out. Like, not to be a old man dad here, but figure it out. And I saw one recently which drove me nutty. And it sticks in my craw because this is kind of the new one where I said institutional. It's not the right word per se. But the idea of, hey everybody, let's all pool our money so we can put some cool stuff in our city. Now I am all for cool stuff. I'm all for supporting your city and supporting where you live. That is great. That is awesome. I can't say I'm all for bunches of people pooling their money to let someone else decide what this money's going for. Because again, I know how grants and that works. There's so much gray area and administrative fee kind of stuff built in. There are so many handshake kind of deals, like, oh yeah, I'll totally DJ that, but oh well, my fee is $500. No. Like, it's suddenly you're creating the trough for all of these pigs to come and eat out of. You're saying, oh yeah, hey, we fundraised X amount of money, we really want to do, ABC, and we want you to be a part of it. Great. So what am I getting paid? And I think it's super, super duper weird, and it bothers me when you're fundraising for that kind of stuff in a city. Especially a city like where I live, that has a lot of needs, that has a downtown that a lot of money has been invested in over the years. And understandably so. People forget, I think, that the downtown of a city is the heart. And while the whole city of itself is the organism, if your heart don't pump, like, there ain't no organism. Generally speaking, the heart, the downtown of the city is what draws people, where you can put the attraction stuff, where your business center is. So it's what draws people and what gets them there. And then you build up everything from that. We're at a point here in Flint where we have poured a lot of money and investment into the downtown, and it's time to start looking at the rest of the city, something that folks that don't live in downtown have been saying for years. But it's weird that people want more and more money to keep. And it's funny because it's under the heading of a placemaking. Oh, well, we got to make this a place. Let's work on placemaking. Bro, Flint is an old city. We're a place. We've been a place. I've been a part of the art scene here in Flint since 2004 or 5. We're a place. Maybe before that. I can't remember. It's been a stone cold minute. We're a place. We've always been a place. We have an historical theater here that has just started getting running regularly before the pandemic hit. Like, I saw Sticks there, and it was a great show. They're trying to figure out the programming exactly. There's an amazing art scene. There's a great music scene. There's some great music venues. Parks all over the place. We have a riverbank park that is underutilized. They just kind of did another rehab on it. There's a monthly art walk, which is amazing, and I'm going to take a little credit. I was part of the group of folks that helped to expand it back in the day, and to weirden it up. But I won't even butt you yet. We have one of the nation's biggest car shows, whether you like car shows or don't. It draws about 500,000 people whenever we have them. We have a huge motorcycle show. We have a big road race. There's tons of stuff that happens in Flint. The problem with Flint is that we're an urban city, and between the suburban racists and just people that like, oh well, I heard it's not safe. Have you ever been there? Well, I drove through there once, but I wouldn't stop. I mean, people love to think the cities are dangerous and the suburbs aren't. And it's, I don't know, whatever. Per capita, sure, because there's more people in a city. Absolutely, absolutely. But it's just one of those fallacies that and again, a lot of it is steeped in kind of this undercurrent of racism. You know, folks afraid of anyone of color, and afraid that, well, if I go there, something's going to happen. I mean, something can happen wherever, man. That's just the nature of humans, unfortunately. But Flint has a ton going on. The problem, like we've had, is buy-in. We have these big art walks, and businesses want to benefit from it, but they don't want to invest in the art walk. They don't want to, most of them, welcome in artists, welcome in musicians. They don't want to support it outside of like, hey, we're open, you should come and get a drink after the art walk. It's very much like, oh, cool, this exists. I want it to support me. And truly, when you see it, I mean, in the summer months, it's amazing. There's hundreds of people out. There's art everywhere. It's fantastic. And it could be better. We could do more like that. They could do much more with the Riverbank Park. It's a gorgeous space. You know, there are a lot of these parks that could be utilized, and fundraising to get lighting and sound systems and fundraising to pay people to put on events is nuts to me. Because one, you can go, there's so much you can do if you ask. I had gotten the go-ahead to do a movie in the park in one of our downtown parks. It would have happened last year. But again, COVID. And a lot of this stuff is just knowing who to ask and asking and having something, you know, accessible for more than your niche group and presenting it well. In a city like ours, people want people downtown. It benefits everybody. We want these events. If you're just doing it like, well, I want to do this because I want to make money, well, you're not going to get a lot of people signing on. If you're, I want to do this so we can bring people down here and we can all make money, they might sign on for that. But it's incredible how much people will help you if you talk to the right people and talk to them the right way. Having done events for years and years and years and years, you can get bands to play for cheap as free. You can get people to do things, but you have to take care of them. If you can't pay them, don't make money off of them. Don't have an event where you are charging admission and then all of your bands are paying for free. And then it's like, oh, wait, do we get some of that? No, that money was for me. There has to be an equity between things. That's why when we did events, I would have, you know, we would have the vendor tables for as inexpensive as reasonable. Understanding, hey, we know who we are, we know what we can provide and what you know our reach is. So we don't want to take advantage of you. And frankly, my stance has always been, if your people who are paying to be there aren't making money, they will tell everyone else that they come across that you will not make money there, and you will not have people coming to you anymore. So you have to take care of those vendors. You have to take care of them very well, because that's what's going to tell you whether or not you're going to keep living another day. I just have such an issue, and it's such a goofy, hipstery, self-important and privileged mentality of like, let's just make this a great space. Here's what I think we should have. We should have some DJs and some classes and a little art festival and this and that. And it's things that, hey, a lot of, absolutely. I'm not into 90% of it, but absolutely. Let's do it. But you don't need thousands and thousands of dollars to do it. You know why? Because those thousands of dollars will start, dollar by dollar, will be falling into gray areas. Does someone need, $500 for a 3-hour DJ set? No. Do they want it? Sure. Are they going to tell you their price of that? Sure. But I mean, I'm just saying, I don't, especially if they're in it for the community and stuff, I don't think so. And again, maybe I'm naive, I come at all of this, as someone who has worked in the community and put on events from art shows to concerts to movie nights to conventions. So I've kind of done it all. And yeah, you need money. But again, a lot of this you can get investors or sponsors. Sponsor your events and this stuff. I have a huge issue too when I see people wanting to build temporary structures and temporary things like, oh, yeah, because in Flint, years ago, this self-righteous, self-important art group had a contest where they awarded someone, I think it was like $20,000, to build an art installation, a temporary art installation. And they put it in this big parking lot in downtown Flint. And downtown Flint didn't at the time have a lot of parking to begin with. And they took up this giant space to build this quote-unquote floating house. And it looked like someone built the structure of a house and then covered it in aluminum foil. It was awful. The concept, if you saw the image concept, interesting. That's kind of interesting. Though it wasn't really a house structure you saw a lot around here necessarily, which is, hey, whatever, that's cool. But again, it was like that was a lot of money to spend on something that was there for 4 or 5 months, and people want it gone within weeks. And it was an absolute waste, because that's money that could have been used to build a permanent art installation somewhere else where it could have been, appreciated all the time. And it bothers me to no end, all of these kind of hobby and self-important fundraisers that we start that aren't for a greater good. They're just because we don't know how to get the money to do it ourselves. And because we have like, oh gosh, I like this city, but I wish I had this. Do it yourself. Get your friends together. Form a committee. Form a group. Just ask. It just bothers me so much, and in petty ways, and in kind of bigger ways. And in the petty ways, it's always a pain in the neck when you see people getting money for things. When we've never had people falling all over themselves to give us funding. And I get it, because we in a way are competing with large scale events that have huge reach, and we are our horror convention, we're a horror group, so we have a niche group, and we are still, after all these years, still trying to get our name in people's mouths. After we've done dozens of events, so I get it, but it is frustrating. And on the greater level, again, it bothers me because Flint has need elsewhere. That's money that could go elsewhere. That's passion that could go elsewhere. That's not downtown. Because downtown's at a point now where what we need is passion, is fire. Are people willing to get their hands dirty and do it? Are businesses willing to put investment, not even financial, but invest themselves into our events like an art walk, and to make themselves galleries for a moment, to welcome in artists and musicians, and to become a part of this, to stop being bystanders and letting people do this for your benefit. That's what we need. We're past the point of money in Flint, in downtown Flint. We're past the point of needing all these people to invest tens and hundreds and thousands of dollars, because we need to take what we have and use it better, use it more wisely. And that can be said for all of this. I'm always going to side with people that have passion and that want to get their dreams made and want to get that done. I also just know that as someone who has dreams and passions, I've always had to pay for myself to get it done, or have had to have help from people. Again, the help people will offer and give you is worth vastly more. Ugh. You'd think I could word better as a writer. Is worth much more than those dollars. Because that's passion added to your passion. That's someone who has ideas that you may not have. That has reach that you may not have reach, that has connections you do not have. That is how our horror organization has, like, how we survived, how we thrived, how we've lived. Is, gosh, I don't know so-and-so, do you? Oh, yeah, I totally know so-and-so, and I know this other person, and this person knows that person, and we can get them involved, and we all know, many of our guests were friends of friends, and they cut us deals, and they showed for nothing, on the promise of, like, hey, no, you can probably make some money at this thing. Okay, cool, I'll do it. And I just think we underutilize, we would rather use our connections and not, like, work with them. We'd rather go to them and, like, hey, I've got this thing, can you give me $10 for it? And we're just at a point of saturation on the smaller level where everyone wants money for every little passion project they have, for every little idea they have. And I wish they could all go forward. But with everyone asking for money, nothing will go forward. And on these bigger projects, there's already grants out there. There's already funding out there. There's already been money spent on something like a city in a downtown. Trying to make a place, man, we've already been a place. Most places are places. It's just not the place you want it to be. So if that's the case, get your hands dirty and change it. And stop asking for people's money. All right, I'm getting off my soapbox. I've been watching a lot of movies. I have almost watched 100 movies this year already. It is crazy. Welcome to quarantine cinema. I hope you are healthy and well. I hope we are all moving towards the end of this pandemic and lockdown. Friend, you take care, and I will talk to you soon.